So, like some other platforms, Mighty Networks did try to build some learning design elements into their platform. They gave you completion controls. There's quizzes in the platform. They let you decide what counts as progress. That is different from a lot of the other platforms. They tried. But while Mighty Networks is letting you choose how you track completion, the options are not giving you the choice to track the right things. I'm Dr. Katrina Mitchum, and I've been designing and redesigning courses online since 2009. So Mighty Networks is a community platform. The infrastructure is decent. It can take a little while to get used to navigating, but otherwise you have all the things that you need to run a course that is supported. There's events, there's spaces, there's places to have communication, and you can control what counts as completion. But that is not solving all the problems. Let's take a look at how this actually works. Okay, so Mighty Networks is community first. They operate on a collections versus spaces. So right now I have a general collection, and then all of these things in here are spaces that I created. So in order to get this course piece, all I did was create a space, and then I chose course. You do have a couple of different options, but the content only course versus the on-demand challenge, they kind of look the same. You can also add events in here. There's lots of different options. The cohort course is when you are running things at certain times, and that would be the difference, right? And so the content, all of these are going to be more self-paced, and then the multi-feature spaces are going to have a mix of both the library view and also the ability to do events. So I'll go ahead and show what the cohort course looks like. Okay, so you name it, you pick the collection it's going to be in. It's very, very similar to creating the course space. Okay, so then we see testing down here. So when I click into testing, this is where I have the course materials and the course community. So I have posts and I have materials. When I go into the course, all I have is materials. So it really just depends on which thing you're doing. The big difference, right, is this community piece. And this is where you're having posts and do discussions, but all of it is open to the whole group, right? And so if it's something where you want them to submit to you and you're the only one that sees it, this piece won't really work very well, but it works great for discussions. Okay, so once you get into the course material space, if you go up to the top right, there'll be create option, and you can do sections, and that's basically what, like a module. And then within a section, you can do lessons and quizzes. You can also have lessons be out separate and just listed. That's the way I have it here. So the step 1, brain dumping, pick your path, that's actually a section. And then when I drop it down, this is a lesson in here. Okay, so this is what a new lesson, a blank lesson, looks like. You do have to click the edit button in order to be able to edit. And then it's just a backslash for commands. And you can, you've got image, video links, files, all kinds of embed options, all kinds of text options, and that's it, right? So this really is just a content repository, with the exception of the quizzes, which I will show you in just a second. So I am going to jump in and show you what some of the things I have built out are, because we're going to try to answer that first question, right? So the first question in all of these tests is, can we track something other than clicking the complete button or watching video? So this is path 1. I have all of the text in here. I have a video. This was a video link. The questions are in here. There isn't any internal kind of assignment space. And so I embedded a Google form, which you can do. And so this fails question 1. You can't track something other than completion. Now, one thing that I think is important to point out in Mighty Networks is that they did try. So if I go into manage lesson settings, there is a section called completion options. So you can have it be that it is not tracking completion at all. You can assign completion as they visited the lesson page. You can assign a button, so they have to click mark complete. It will appear at the bottom to complete it. or members must watch the tracked video in the lesson in order to complete it. So I have the button there, so you could also do video, but there is no like tracking beyond those things that this question is asking for, but at least they do give you some options, right? This is the first platform where the type, what you're counting as complete is there. It's just they've directed it in the wrong area. It should be actual engagement, not just consumption. So we have the wrong theories underneath our completion options here. Okay, so question 2 is, can we branch for different learning pathways? If you hadn't noticed, the answer to that question is no, and so it fails that question. There isn't even really a good workaround here, right? If I go to sections, there's no, like, I can't grab a link in order to link out to the different pathways from Pick Your Path. There's no way to do like an extra layer of nesting or to indicate that these things are optional. And so there's not even a good workaround. I would literally have to make every step a different section throughout the whole thing instead of chunking it into modules as well. Okay, so next we are answering question 3, which is, how many clicks does it take to get from video done to activity? And so this is really about friction, finding the friction between consuming and actually doing something with it. So all of the information is here. Typically when we see that question 1 fails, question 3 also fails because there is going to be a lot of friction. So I'm going to go back into path 1 because this is the place where I had the Google form. So I can fill everything out. I can put my brain dump in here. I can click submit. So it does fail question 3 because the lack of friction isn't inherent in the tool, right? And so we are taking friction away by including, for learners, by including this form here, but it's creating more friction for you. And then there's friction in the, okay, well, getting the feedback back to them. Now, because Mighty is a community platform, there is more space in here for communication. It should make it easier to give them that feedback in this same space. So there's not like a separate login, but it's still, it is clunky, right? And so what we're looking at here is whether or not it's easy. No, it's not easy. And so it fails question 3. You can see that to complete the lesson, watch all the videos marked with a stopwatch. And so I do have a video up here. It does have a stopwatch. And so I would need to watch this video. Let's see if it lets me count. Oh, congrats, you finished the lesson. So I can just drag it. And it says I have finished the lesson. And so I can move on. The lesson is complete. I did play around with the comments here. And so we're going to go look at what this looks like on the other side. But this is the student view. I don't actually like how these images come up. I didn't see a way to turn that off on the other side for the individual lessons. Okay, so to check on member progress, you do just go into members and you can see, what was last viewed, the last thing that I completed as a student, and then the percent complete. And then over here on the right-hand side, there's the 3 dots and you can chat. And so this would be some place where you could come back in and whatever student me said in that Google form, I could respond to here or give the feedback here or whatever. However it is I want to interact. But then that's it. There's nothing really, when I click on path 1, it takes me to path 1. So there's not really any other information that I can see on this side of things. Okay, so next we're going to do some run Successible, the accessibility checker. And so when I do that, I have a lot of alt text issues. And all of these alt text issues are related to these little letter icons. There is no alt text on those. I also have some poor color contrast issues. And those are all links that I can't control. I did not take the time to go in and, brand this. So it is possible that those are things I can control, but the default is not accessible. Okay, so now I'm going to run it on the lesson building page. There are no issues. There's no alt text issues, color contrast issues, or skipped heading levels. There's the captions aren't missing according to this, and so that looks pretty good. Okay, so we are now going to go ahead and run Successible on the student view of things. So we found some alt text issues. They are all the same. And then this isn't being marked as decorative. So it's all these letters, and then I can't change. I didn't even get to choose whether or not this was the image at the top. And then the poor color contrast issues are all Mighty Networks defaults. When I click into an actual lesson and run the accessibility checker, we again have the alt text missing, this time from the top. I guess it's not checking this sidebar maybe. And then the poor color contrast is again up at the top, part of the Mighty Networks platform itself. So if you would like to try Successible for yourself, the link is in the description. So the question you need to ask yourself is, do you need a community where people happen to be reading or watching the same information together? Or do you need a course platform where learning outcomes are actually tracked and you can also build a community? Mighty Networks can help you do the first. If you want a resource library, their course option isn't a bad option for that. But if real learning is the goal, then it may not be a good choice. So 3 tests, 3 fails, but this is an interesting failure, right? Because they did make an attempt by letting you control what counts as completion. It's just they're giving you the wrong options. You need to know, did students understand it? Can they apply it? Did they do the dang thing? And none of those showed up as a radio button on the completion option list. Just like a lot of the other platforms, Mighty Networks wasn't designed to ask whether or not students are actually learning. If you're trying to decide if you're ready to choose a platform, I have a quiz for that. The link is in the description. Next, we're going to look at Heartbeat. Same lesson, same 3 tests. If it's not there, it'll be there next week.